headlines. Iran and 6 world powers, including the United States and China, agreed to a framework for a deal to curb Iran's nuclear program. Can this serve as a model for North Korea? Hyundai Motor expands its operations into the world's biggest car market, China, breaking ground for its #4 plant in the country. And staying behind the wheel, the Seoul Motor Show kicks off under the theme of Experience the Technology, Feel the Artistry. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the newscast, coming to you live from Seoul, Korea. I am Kang Chery. We begin with the bitter and more than decade-long standoff between the West and Iran over Tehran's nuclear program, which could soon be reaching an end. Iran and the 6 world powers, including the United States and China, agreed to a framework for a deal to curb Iran's nuclear program in return for lifting international sanctions. Our Choi reports.
After 8 days of marathon negotiations in Switzerland, Iran and the so-called P5+1 nations agreed to a framework for a deal to curb Tehran's nuclear development program. It's not a final deal, but a significant step towards extending the time it would take Iran to build a nuclear weapon by at least 10 years.
Iran will be able to continue its peaceful nuclear program, but there will be limitations placed on the level and the duration of its enrichment program and the quantity of enriched material that can be kept.
Under the framework, Tehran has agreed to suspend 2/3 of its centrifuges that can be used to produce weapons-grade uranium. It will also dismantle a plutonium-producing reactor and allow international inspectors to monitor all of its nuclear facilities on a regular basis. The U.S. and the European Union's economic and financial sanctions concerning Tehran's nuclear activities will be lifted in phases, but will be reinforced if Tehran breaks its commitments. Iran and the 5 UN Security Council permanent members plus Germany are now tasked with reaching a final agreement by June 30th, after which international sanctions relief will start.
And I am convinced that if this framework leads to a final comprehensive deal, it will make our country, our allies, and our world safer.
While the West and the UN chief welcomed the news, Israel, a strong opponent of Iran's nuclear program, said any deal must significantly roll back Iran's nuclear capabilities. The leaders of the U.S. and Iran face another hurdle at home, as the final agreement is viewed with skepticism by many lawmakers in Washington and Tehran. Choi, ARIRANG News.
Now, this nuclear deal with Iran would have been unthinkable even a few years ago, so there's renewed optimism that a similar agreement could be reached with North Korea. But experts in the U.S. at least say chances of that are very slim at the moment. Park Ji-won tells us more.
Former U.S. nuclear negotiator Robert Gallucci, who led the 1994 Geneva Agreement with North Korea, says it's unlikely the U.S. will engage in more nuclear discussions with Pyongyang in the near future. He said the Obama administration will need to focus on persuading the Republican-led Congress to approve the nuclear framework deal with Iran. His view is widely shared with North Korea experts in the U.S. Joel Witt, a founder and editor at 38 North, a website specializing in North Korea matters, also said he doesn't expect the Obama administration to refocus its attention on Pyongyang anytime soon. Witt says the U.S. has a lot more to do to implement the Iranian deal, such as bolstering its security ties with Israel. And since there are a lot of critics of the Iran deal on the grounds that the U.S. wasted years attempting to convince North Korea to denuclearize, experts say Washington will be reluctant to re-engage with Pyongyang for the time being. Despite bilateral and multilateral negotiations stretching back to the 1990s, North Korea has continuously strengthened its nuclear capabilities, conducting 3 nuclear tests between 2006 and 2013. Park Ji-won, ARIRANG News.
Meanwhile, South Korea's chief nuclear envoy is hoping that an Iranian nuclear deal will have a positive effect on resolving North Korea's nuclear ambitions. In a press briefing on Friday, Hwang Jun-guk said the fact that a framework was reached as the result of a two-track approach of pressure and dialogue with the international community has a huge significance for the North Korean nuclear issue. Hwang expressed hopes that a final deal for Tehran will create a positive mood for restarting the long-stalled six-party nuclear talks. The multilateral dialogue involving the two Koreas, the United States, China, Russia, and Japan has been on hold for more than 6 years. While speculation continues over the possible deployment of the U.S. defense system known as THAAD, it's looking very likely that Korea will be beefing up its own defense capabilities by buying hundreds of advanced missiles from the United States. Connie Kim has the details.
The U.S. State Department has approved the possible sale of 400 air-to-surface Hellfire missiles as well as related equipment to South Korea. Seoul had requested semi-active laser missiles, air training missiles, and captive air training missiles. It is now waiting for the U.S. Congress to approve the purchase. The advanced weaponry will improve South Korea's ability to defend itself against North Korea. These new weapons, coming at a price tag of $81 million, will be used on Apache helicopters, and 36 of which are expected to arrive in South Korea next year. Hellfire missiles are mainly used to target tanks and armored vehicles. It's estimated that Pyongyang possesses about 3,800 tanks, while Seoul has some 2,400. What's more, experts say the Hellfire missiles are also capable of destroying North Korean underground tunnels located on the truce line between the two countries. And inside the tunnels, Pyongyang is estimated to have some 3.4 million long-range artillery projectiles aimed at the southern part of the peninsula. Connie Kim, ARIRANG News.
And things are not looking so good at the joint inter-Korean Kaesong factory zone, with both Koreas not budging on the wage issue. Pyongyang wants pay increased for North Korean workers, but Seoul is firm on its stance that the matter needs to be settled through dialogue. Hwang Sung-hee has the story.
Reiterating that the wage hike for workers at the Kaesong industrial complex must be settled through dialogue, South Korea's unification ministry said Friday it will push for talks with North Korea next week.
Since April 10th is the payday, we are trying to arrange a meeting between the Kaesong Industrial District Management Committee and the North Korean government.
North Korea wants the workers' monthly wage raised from around $70 to $74, which exceeds the current 5% salary cap. Pyongyang wants the salary hike to apply to March wages, which would be paid out April 10th. On Thursday, the South Korean government asked companies at the joint business park for a wage freeze until a deal is reached between the two Koreas. The unification ministry reassured that the firms will be compensated for any potential damage to their business operations.
For any companies that are affected by following the government's wage guideline, we will review all cases and come up with a measure to minimize the damage, including the distribution of insurance payments.
The Kaesong industrial complex, where more than 54,000 North Koreans work at around 124 South Korean companies, is the last remaining form of inter-Korean cooperation. The latest tug-of-war between the Koreas is raising concerns about another unilateral shutdown of the complex by Pyongyang. But most experts say such a scenario is unlikely, since maintaining the joint business park is just as important to the north as it is to the south. Hwang Sung-hee, ARIRANG News.
And here's another thorny issue between the two Koreas. North Korea is holding 2 South Korean men captive, calling them spies from the South. But Seoul has slammed Pyongyang's claims and called for the safety and the swift release of the detainees. Kim Ji-yeon tells us more.
Unification Ministry spokesman Im Byung-chul expressed regret on Friday, reiterating that the 2 men detained since March are not spies. Him added that the South Korean government will respond firmly to any actions that endanger the safety of its nationals. North Korea's state media identified the two detainees as 61-year-old Kim Guk-ki and 56-year-old Choi Chung-gil and said they were working out of the Chinese border city of Tandung. The North suspects the two of being employed by Seoul's National Intelligence Service. An NIS official has reportedly said the claims are false. South Korea has sent a request to the International Committee of the Red Cross for help to securing the release and says it plans to use its various diplomatic channels developed when trying to solve a similar case from 2013. That year, South Korean missionary Kim Jong-un was captured by North Korean authorities and is currently serving a life sentence of hard labor on the charges of spying and operating an underground church. Kim Jeon, ARIRANG News.
For the latest in news that impacts Korea and the world, join Kang Chery for a lively half hour that covers politics, business, international news, and much more. Live at 8 every weeknight on ARIRANG TV.
Human Rights Council headquarters in Geneva on Thursday, finding ways to persuade. Korea's biggest automaker, Hyundai Motor, is expanding its operations in China, the world's #1 auto market. Construction officially kicked off at the fourth Hyundai plant on Friday, and this plant is expected to open next year and sell more than 200,000 cars every year. Kwon So-ah has the report.
The Hyundai Motor Company aims to make a bigger impact in the world's biggest auto market. Vice Chairman Jung Eui-sun spoke at Friday's groundbreaking ceremony and emphasized key phrases Hyundai Speed and Hyundai Miracle.
We are going to push ahead with sustainable development on multiple fronts, including upgrades to the auto industry and economy of both countries.
The new factory is located in the city of Changzhou in the northern Chinese province of Hebei. Hyundai Motor Company occupies a market share of 8.8% in Beijing and 8.2% in Hebei province. Construction at the roughly 2 million square meter site is expected to be completed by 2016. The company then plans to produce around 200,000 vehicles a year and eventually increasing to 300,000 annually by the end of 2018. That projection includes mass production of compact cars tailored for the local market. A fifth plant is also expected to break ground this summer in the mega city of Chongqing. Hyundai Motor Company's focus on the Chinese market comes amid fierce global competition. Demand is steadily rising and currently stands at around 26 million units this year, surpassing the 30 million mark in 3 years and hitting nearly 35 million by 2020. Hyundai Motor Group, which includes Hyundai Motor Company and Kia Motors, currently has a market share of around 10% in China, ranking third behind Volkswagen and General Motors. Kwon So-ah, ARIRANG News.
And today is a very exciting day for many car lovers out there. The Seoul Motor Show kicked off this Friday. Automakers from around the world are rolling out new models and concept cars. Our Kim Min-ji helps us take a peek into this event and the cars that are creating the buzz.
Flashy and sleek take center stage at this year's Seoul Motor Show with major brands pulling out all the stops. Under the theme Experience the Technology, Feel the Artistry, automakers are showcasing models that fuse cutting-edge trends with sophisticated designs. Kia Motors pulled the curtain back on its much-anticipated revamped K5. The sedan is equipped with state-of-the-art tech, offering a safe drive and chic design that can appeal to drivers of all ages.
Cars are no longer limited to just the driving experience. It's a part of our everyday lives. Our focus was to make the car a part of the driver's lifestyle and culture.
Foreign brands are also making a big showing. Mini used the occasion to showcase its Mini Superleggera vision concept. It's gained attention for its roadster shape, unique styling, and classic interior. And riding on the environmentally friendly trend, a majority of local and foreign brands have also included green cars in their showcase lineup. BMW's i8 plug-in hybrid sports car made its local debut. The German car maker says it's a glimpse into the future and has even taken into consideration Korea's lack of infrastructure for such vehicles.
We've installed 120 charging facilities at supermarkets across the nation for customers to use.
More than 300 vehicles are on site, but if the showroom isn't enough, there's also a variety of hands-on activities visitors can check out, including driving simulations. The motor show runs through April 12th. 김민지, 아리랑 뉴스.
A market researcher is predicting that Samsung Electronics' latest Galaxy S6 series smartphones will be record-breaking bestsellers for the Korean tech giant. Hong Kong-based Counterpoint Research says Samsung is expected to sell over 50 million units of the new smartphones this year, surpassing the record set by its predecessor Galaxy S4, which sold about 45 million units the year it was released. New features like wireless charging batteries, a first in this industry, are projected to help Samsung win back its share in high-end smartphone market. However, the researchers said the boost will come at the expense of other Android competitors rather than Apple. Despite its market share edging down, though, Samsung retained its #1 spot with a 28% share last year, but Apple outperformed Samsung in the fourth quarter. Apple and Samsung may be rivals in the smartphone market, but the Korean tech leader is set to supply processor chips for the next iPhone release. Citing unnamed sources familiar with this contract, Bloomberg reported that Samsung Electronics won the order to manufacture the next generation A9 chips, taking Apple's business back from the Taiwan semiconductor manufacturing company TSMC. TSMC won the previous order to supply chips for the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus, ending Samsung's monopoly over Apple's orders. That switch coincided with patent lawsuits between the two companies. Samsung declined official comment on the latest bid. Printing and scanning technology have advanced, and so have crimes related to forging official documents like resident registration cards and diplomas. And coming in to help fight that menace is a new smartphone application to help people find the fakes. Our Sun Jung-in has more.
Members of a criminal gang based in China were arrested in early 2011 on charges of sending forged official documents like ID cards and university diplomas to Korea. These kind of forgeries are a multi-million-dollar business and have been flooding Korea for years. And what makes it all the more problematic is that the fake degrees and documents have become so convincing that there is no clear way of telling if they are fake or not. But hope is on the horizon in the form of a new smartphone application. The app helps users authenticate a document or product in a matter of seconds with just a few taps on their smart device. After scanning a digital ID code that is invisible to the naked eye, the app analyzes the data in a second and sends the result back to the smartphone. Even items purchased from online shopping malls can be verified by scanning the tag on the attached label.
I shop online a lot, but to be honest, I don't know if the products I'm buying are the real deal or not. So this new app helps me see if the stuff I buy is genuine.
Along with the general information about the product, users can access the brand's website for extra details by clicking a link provided by the app.
Unlike existing QR codes or regular barcodes, this code is encrypted and not visible to the human eye, so it makes it impossible to counterfeit or manipulate.
Experts say the so-called Internet of Things that connects smart devices to regular things, including documents, will help prevent forgeries and protect original data in the future. 손 정인, 아리랑 뉴스.
China has formally indicted one of its former security chiefs on charges of corruption. For more on this and other international stories, we connect to Paul Lee at the News Center. Paul, this appears to be by far the highest profile figure caught in Beijing's crackdown on corrupt politics. How far up the power chain does this case reach?
Well, Zhou Yunkang was a member of China's top decision-making body, the Politburo Standing Committee. He also held the highest post in charge of the country's domestic security until his retirement in 2012. However, since then, Zhou has gone through a dramatic fall from grace. Last year, he was arrested and expelled from the ruling Communist Party and accused of crimes ranging from accepting bribes to leaking state secrets. Cementing those allegations, China's top prosecution office announced Friday that the 72-year-old now faces trial for bribery and abuse of power. The state news agency Xinhua added that his case was transferred to a court in the northern city of Tianjin. Zhou has not been seen in public since October 2013.
And turning to shocking news coming out of Kenya, the country was rocked by this deadly shooting at a university in the northeastern region. Government officials say the death toll stands at 147 at this point, and it appears the massacre was orchestrated by an extremist group.
That's right, Chery. The attack was carried out by several militants identifying themselves as belonging to the Somali Islamist group Al-Shabaab. The attackers stormed Garissa University College on Thursday morning, shooting down security personnel, students, and faculty as they made their way through the campus. The siege lasted for 15 hours and ended after police and soldiers shot dead all 4 gunmen. Earlier, Kenya's Interior Ministry said the suspect had strapped themselves with explosives.
We're able to confirm that 4 terrorists have been killed. The number of the terrorists was never confirmed. So the officers on the ground are saying 90% of the threat has been eliminated. So what they are doing now, they are mopping up the area and cities, and we will continue to get update, and also the number of the casualties, the fatalities, so to speak.
Meanwhile, Kenya's military and Red Cross have airlifted the critically injured students to Nairobi for specialized treatment. At least 79 people were also wounded in what has become the worst attack on Kenyan soil in over 15 years.
And shifting to the ongoing probe on last week's Germanwings disaster, prosecutors in Germany say they found records of web searches on suicide and cockpit doors made by the plane's co-pilot, who's believed to have deliberately crashed the plane. So give us the details on this latest findings.
Well, criminal investigators say they have retrieved relevant data from Andreas Lupitz's tablet computer. They believe the 27-year-old used the device on March 23rd on the eve of the crash of Flight 9525, which killed all 150 people on board.
According to the results, the user informed himself about medical treatments, as well as different kinds of, and the implementation of a suicide. On at least one day, he had searched for several minutes about cockpit doors and their safety precautions.
Based on this evidence, investigators said they believe Lupitz intentionally crashed a plane when he locked the captain out of the cockpit and took control of the aircraft. Meanwhile, a French prosecutor announced that crews have finally found the second black box's flight data recorder, adding there was reasonable hope that it would provide useful information.
And finally, the leading video streaming service Netflix has given the green light for another season of the award-winning show House of Cards. Lucky me, what's behind this latest move by Netflix?
Well, the American political drama television series has become one of the company's most valuable media assets since launching in 2013. Now, amid a soaring popularity, it went on to become the first online-only TV series to win an Emmy Award. Netflix made the announcement on their official Twitter feed on Thursday. The company tweeted that House of Cards was renewed for a 4th season in 2016. Now, the show's head writer, Bo Willimon, also confirmed the news on Twitter as well. The show stars Kevin Spacey as U.S. Congressman Francis Underwood and Robin Wright as his wife Claire. The political drama is based on a book and BBC miniseries of the same name. Chery?
Very much looking forward to that one. All right, Paul, let's leave it there for now. Thank you so much for those updates, and we will see you again in just about 2 hours. Hello and
happy Friday. I'm Kim Bo-kyung with your weather forecast. Cloudy conditions gave way to bright and clear skies by the afternoon under mild spring-like conditions. But if you're planning outdoor activities, make sure to get them done before tomorrow afternoon because more spring showers are on the way, beginning down in Jeju before spreading to most parts of the country by the evening. So through early Sunday morning, up to 60 millimeters will drop over Jeju, while 10 to 30 is expected for the southern regions. On to Saturday's readings. The daytime high here in the capital hits 18, while cities down south reach the mid-teens. Moving on to other places, Daejeon peaks at 16, Jeju 17, Dokdo hits 9. Those are the updates I have for you now. Have a wonderful Friday evening. I'll be back with more at 10 p.m. Korea time.
Thank you very much, and that will do it for this edition of ARIRANG News. Thanks for watching.